baby girl a message saying I'll be coming home. I see us in the park, strolling the summer day. Oh, love, and about to love, yeah. Oh, little dee. When you love someone, you just don't treat them bad. I want you to know, I need time to see where I wanna be. You gotta be the one, girl, you gotta be the one. Saying I'm gone, but I last week, girl, what's it gonna be? Shorty got eyes on me. Girl, you know that.
Before you get sucked into the same predictable music industry rags to riches story, let me drop a mind-blowing fact on you. Donell Jones once wrote for Madonna before he even had an album out. Yes, the queen of pop tapped an up-and-coming R&B kid because his talent was just that undeniable. Now, imagine that same trailblazing artist spiraling into scandal, legal trouble, and near-career suicide, only to claw his way back to independence, own his entire music catalog, and rebuild his family from the ashes of addiction. Intrigued yet? Stick around, because we're about to drop the ultimate Donell Jones Scandal update you never saw coming. That's right, we are pulling back the curtain on Donell Jones, a name once synonymous with smooth R&B hits and unstoppable songwriting talent, who seemingly disappeared after label clashes, legal brawls, and personal demons threatened to derail everything. But guess what? Don't count him out just yet. In this in-depth exposé, we're diving into every twist and turn that shaped Donell's extraordinary life. From the stranglehold of powerful record labels to raw admissions of addiction, and from brushes with the law to a shocking comeback nobody predicted. This is the ultimate behind-the-scenes look at an artist who refused to let the industry write his final chapter. We're gonna keep it real. No sugarcoating, no smoothing over the ugly parts. So if you're craving the absolute truth behind Donell Jones's scandalous moments and triumphant reemergence, you've landed in the right place. Buckle up. We're about to embark on a journey that'll take you from multi-platinum accolades to near-total obscurity and back into a realm of self-empowerment that every music lover should celebrate. Donell Jones didn't just happen upon music. He was practically born into it. Raised in Chicago, the hotbed of soul and R&B, he was exposed early on to the city's deep musical heritage. Instead of falling into the background like countless other dreamers, he quickly emerged as a standout talent. With a smooth, velvety voice and a knack for penning lyrics that spoke right to your heart, Donell grabbed the attention of bigger names almost effortlessly. Long before he released his own hits, Donell Jones wrote or co-wrote for artists like Madonna, showcasing a versatility that transcended typical R&B boundaries. This kind of behind-the-scenes work often goes uncredited in the public eye, but it set him apart. It proved that Donell wasn't just another singer vying for the spotlight. He was a creative force who could craft hits for global superstars. Early in his career, Donell had a sixth sense for melodies that resonated with people's emotions. It was never just about a catchy beat, though he could do that too. He wanted his music to reflect real-life stories and the raw challenges everyone faces. This authenticity became the bedrock of his brand. The industry folks who had an ear for groundbreaking talent took notice, paving the way for him to pen hits for established legends and up-and-comers alike. As his reputation ballooned, Donell Jones found himself rubbing shoulders with major figures in the industry. He secured collaborations, had his songs recorded by chart toppers, and garnered whispers of being the next big R&B sensation. It was only a matter of time before labels came knocking, each one promising big budgets, expansive radio play, and unstoppable stardom. Yet even as he signed on the dotted line, Donell kept a note of caution. He'd heard horror stories of labels constricting creative control, and that was not something he was eager to surrender. Our story speeds forward to Donell Jones's initial surge in popularity. The moment he stepped into the limelight with his own name on album covers, critics and fans alike took notice. With a distinct voice that could switch effortlessly from sultry ballads to upbeat R&B anthems, Donell didn't just participate in the genre, he expanded it. One of the early highlight reels would include his American Music Award win and the platinum status of his debut project. This was a big deal. It meant he wasn't just a one-hit wonder or a behind-the-scenes penman. He could stand shoulder to shoulder with some of R&B's biggest names. Meanwhile, accolades poured in, with fans swearing by his smooth approach to love and heartache. While everything sparkled on the outside, award shows, radio interviews, talk show spots, a silent storm brewed in the background. Donell's label was starting to have second thoughts about his independent streak, leading to some early conflicts that most of the public wouldn't notice. Yet these disagreements would snowball into full-blown wars later on. During these early successes, Donell Jones began bumping heads with his label over seemingly minor creative points. The choice of producers, track listings, even music video concepts. The label wanted guaranteed hits, but Donell wanted to explore soulful depth that went beyond radio-friendly formulas. While the friction wasn't yet severe, it foreshadowed a major confrontation. For an industry that thrives on controlling every aspect of an artist's image, an outspoken artist can be seen as a threat. As Donell Jones's star power grew, so did his appetite for creative freedom. After all, he was writing and producing his own material. Why not call more of the shots? However, for record labels used to molding artists into cookie-cutter packages, Donell's quest for authenticity wasn't just irritating, it was a direct challenge to their power structures. According to insiders who were in the studio at the time, Donell would show up to planning meetings with a notebook full of ideas, from visuals and thematic concepts to collaboration wish lists. Executives, on the other hand, had data-driven formulas. This producer guaranteed a top 10 single last year, or, we need a more commercial hook here. When Donell pushed back, it was akin to stepping on landmines. The tension reached a boiling point when Donell refused to greenlight a music video concept he considered fake. He wanted a stripped-down, storytelling approach. The label wanted flashy sets and choreographed dance numbers. Donell held his ground, and the label responded by slicing his promotional budget. This set the stage for the battles that would soon define his career. Outwardly, Donell Jones maintained his image as a suave R&B crooner. Think smooth interviews, polished stage performances, and fan interactions that seemed effortless. Privately, he was wrestling with the frustration of not being heard. The people controlling the purse strings were forcing him into artistic corners, leaving him no choice but to fight or fold. For Donell Jones, folding was never an option. With label drama intensifying, Donell Jones found himself turning to alcohol as a coping mechanism. At first, it was just a way to unwind after a grueling day of negotiations and the mental roller coaster of being in the public eye. But like so many cautionary tales, what starts as a stress reliever can quickly morph into a crippling crutch. Many top industry pros at the time noted Donell's unwavering work ethic, even while he was privately grappling with growing addictions. He would show up late to sessions yet still deliver soulful vocals that left producers in awe. But cracks in his personal life widened. Arguments with close friends, neglected appointments, and a creeping sense of isolation. Eventually, small stories of erratic behavior made their way onto gossip blogs. Nothing too serious at first, maybe a missed radio interview or canceled appearance. However, each whisper chipped away at the polished facade. When you're spiraling out of control, it's only a matter of time before the law catches up. Donell had a series of brushes with the police, the most notable being an arrest for harassment, allegedly triggered by an altercation that escalated far beyond what anyone would have expected from a talented musician with a previously clean image. Then came rumors of a weapon being discovered, adding fuel to the media fire. This was a breaking point for the label. Armed with negative headlines and an artist who no longer seemed stable, executives used Donell's legal woes to justify further slashing promotional budgets and marketing initiatives. The star who once commanded the industry's attention now found the doors slamming shut around him, leaving him feeling trapped, unsupported, and desperate. While scandal after scandal stacked up against him, Donell Jones maintained a stubborn belief that he could juggle it all. He tried ignoring the label's disdain, tried self-medicating the stress away, and convinced himself that everything would right itself if he just kept pushing forward. Then, one fateful incident shattered that illusion completely. The moment Donell decided to drive his kids while under the influence was the instant real life eclipsed the music. This wasn't a tabloid rumor or a he said, she said situation. It was a DUI, plain and simple. And with that came the crushing possibility of losing his family. It was no longer about chart positions. It was about child welfare, legal repercussions, and the future of his entire personal life. In the court of public opinion, you can recover from label disputes. You can even bounce back from a bar brawl. But endangering children is a line in the sand for most people. Suddenly, Donell Jones was thrust from R&B icon to cautionary tale. Fans were shocked, critics were merciless, and the label practically erased him from upcoming release schedules. Stripped of the illusions he'd been clinging to, Donell reached a moment of brutal clarity. If he didn't make changes, he would lose his career, his family, and possibly his life to addiction. He had always sung about real life and heartbreak, But now he was living through the kind of low point he might have only penned in his most gut-wrenching lyrics. Rock bottom had arrived, and there was nowhere else to go but up or out. With few options left, Donell Jones did the one thing many celebrities hesitate to do. He checked himself into rehab and committed wholeheartedly to getting sober. This was no superficial PR move. It was a heartfelt attempt to save what remained of his life and career. During rehab, Donell effectively vanished from the public eye. No new singles, no interviews, no paparazzi photos. It was a stark contrast to the flashy presence he once maintained at award shows and industry events. But in that absence, he found the solitude he needed to confront the deeper issues that had driven him to drink in the first place. Unresolved tensions with record labels, the pressure of fame, and the painful realization that the system he'd invested so much in cared little about his well-being. This hiatus led fans and critics to wonder if Donell Jones was done for good. Was this the final chapter for a once shining R&B star? Would the industry even take him back after such a public breakdown? Leaving rehab sober was the first step. Rebuilding bridges with family, especially his children, became the true uphill battle. But Donell tackled it with the same passion he once reserved for his music. Through family therapy and open communication, he began to heal the bonds nearly lost in the chaos. For Donell, regaining trust meant more than any potential Grammy or chart-topping single. With sobriety under his belt and a renewed sense of purpose, Donell Jones dove back into the studio. He poured every ounce of heartbreak, regret, and hope into new tracks that showcased not just his voice, but his soul. When the album finally dropped, it debuted at the top of the R&B charts, proving the fans hadn't abandoned him. For a brief, electrifying moment, it seemed like Donell Jones was back. The R&B community buzzed with excitement. Critics praised the raw honesty of his lyrics, noting that his battles had imbued his voice with a new dimension of authenticity. Social media channels lit up, and longtime fans rejoiced. However, the label machine that once championed him was nowhere to be found when it came time to promote the second single. The budget for marketing mysteriously evaporated, leaving Donell's new work to fizzle out before it gained real momentum. Rumors circulated that the label still viewed Donell as a liability, a rebellious artist with a stained public image. Had they pulled a power move to remind him who was in charge? Music industry insiders claimed this was the label's way of punishing Donell for his earlier defiance, his refusal to conform to their cookie-cutter formulas. The message was clear: if you dare to question us, we can and will make sure your project never sees the light of day. For Donell Jones, it was a bitter pill to swallow. He'd given everything to reclaim his spot in the industry, only to find his efforts sabotaged by the very people meant to support him. No longer willing to play a rigged game, Donell Jones chose to leave the major label scene. Instead, he funneled his passion into building an independent platform, free from corporate meddling. It was a bold move that came with its own challenges, but for the first time in a long time, Donell was in the driver's seat. By releasing music on his own terms, Donell now owned his masters, an invaluable asset in an industry notorious for keeping royalties locked away from the artists who earned them. This shift was monumental. Where many of his peers remained chained to oppressive contracts, Donell was collecting direct profits from his work. He could decide album art, collaborations, and promotional strategies without a boardroom veto. In today's digital age, independence allows artists to leverage social media, YouTube, and streaming platforms for direct fan engagement. It also aligns perfectly with the wave of indie artists who have found success bypassing traditional gatekeepers. Donell's move showed he was not just reactive, he was visionary, anticipating the changing tides of music. This new phase didn't lead to astronomical sales or primetime awards shows. It was more modest but far more stable. With no million-dollar marketing budgets, Donell relied on the loyalty of fans who still believed in his genuine artistry. He hosted small concerts, dropped tracks that felt authentic, and made it clear that he was done compromising for commercial gains. The mainstream spotlight might have dimmed, but Donell Jones discovered a more meaningful, sustainable relationship with his art. When you claw your way back from the brink, you realize just how fragile life can be. Donell Jones used that realization as fuel to not just rebuild his own life, but to give back to others facing similar struggles. Maintaining sobriety became a cornerstone of Donell's daily life. While many artists publicly announced their recovery, then quietly slipped back into old habits, Donell made it a priority to surround himself with support systems that kept him accountable. He openly discussed his experiences with addiction in interviews, aiming to destigmatize rehab and encourage others to seek help without shame. By speaking openly about the dark days, Donell offered hope to fans who'd been through similar battles. His music, once known simply for its romantic or upbeat vibes, now carried layers of survival and rebirth. This deeper resonance attracted a whole new wave of listeners who appreciated his candor. Family had been the wake-up call that spurred Donell's journey to sobriety in the first place. Post-rehab, he poured energy into being a present father, partner, and son. Gone were the days of missed birthdays or half-hearted phone calls. In interviews, Donell often cites the unwavering support of his loved ones as the anchor that kept him grounded when industry storms threatened to tear him away again. A lesser-known piece of Donell's story is his commitment to community outreach. After regaining control of his life, he took time to visit schools and youth centers, sharing cautionary tales about how quickly success can morph into self-destruction if you're not careful. While these appearances didn't grab headlines like his scandals once did, they made a tangible impact on those who heard him speak. His message, "If I can turn it around, so can you." In an industry where many artists tout give back, initiatives only for the photo ops, Donell's approach felt genuine. He knew firsthand how easy it was to lose yourself in the pursuit of fame, and he wanted to ensure the next generation understood the stakes. Fast forward to today, and Donell Jones is a far cry from the star who once teetered on the edge of oblivion. He may no longer dominate mainstream charts or snag front-page headlines, but he has achieved something arguably more valuable: a life on his own terms. A monumental achievement in the music world is owning your masters, something Donell Jones has secured for years now. This financial and creative independence sets him apart from many fellow R&B legends still locked into exploitative contracts. By retaining ownership of his catalog, Donell ensures ongoing revenue from past works, and he can freely license his music without jumping through label hoops. Music ownership and artist empowerment are hot-button topics in digital marketing and search trends. Donell's success here positions him as a case study in building a sustainable music career even after public setbacks. In interviews, Donell often states he has nothing left to prove. He's done chasing the ephemeral thrill of chart-topping singles or high-budget music videos. Instead, he focuses on crafting music that genuinely reflects his experiences, from the blissful to the heartbreaking. That authenticity resonates with a loyal fanbase who championed him through the storms and continue to support each new project. Donell's journey has inspired many younger artists contemplating the independent path. They see in him a blueprint for resilience, someone who wrestled with industry Goliaths and emerged wiser, if a bit battered. If there's a legacy to be talked about, it's that Donell Jones proved you can survive scandal, addiction, and label betrayals, then pivot to a fulfilling career rooted in personal freedom. Lessons from Donell Jones's path. Speak your truth. Don't let corporate interests dilute your creative vision. Donell's earliest conflicts stemmed from refusing to compromise his artistic integrity, and while it cost him in the short term, it ultimately led to greater control and ownership in the long run. Guard your mental health. Fame and fortune can quickly spiral into pressure and addiction. Recognize the signs early, and don't shy away from seeking help. Donell's turning point came only when he hit rock bottom. Family and community first. Whether it's reconciling with loved ones or giving back to the next generation, real success is measured by impact beyond the charts. Donell's charitable efforts and focus on family underscore that. Own your work. Retaining the rights to your music or content can be a game changer. In an era where streaming platforms dominate, every royalty check matters, and creative control ensures longevity. Now that you've taken this deep dive into the rise, fall, and stunning comeback of Donell Jones, we want your take. What's the most surprising part of Donell's journey for you? Do you believe his battle with the label was worth the cost, given what he's gained in independence? Have you faced a situation where you had to stand up for your own vision, even if it meant clashing with authority? Share your story. Scroll down and leave a comment. Let's keep the conversation going, because Donell's story isn't just about music. It's about the universal fight for personal freedom, redemption, and staying true to one's purpose against all odds. If you found this exposé revealing, hit that like button to let us know you want more exclusive artist deep dives. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel for fresh updates on Donell Jones's ongoing journey, plus new revelations on your other favorite artists, past, present, and future. Remember, the music industry is a wild ride, and we're here to guide you every step of the way. More Donell Jones news. Stay tuned for ongoing discussions about his latest releases, live performances, and any philanthropic moves he's making in his community. Other artist spotlights. If you enjoyed this behind-the-scenes approach, keep an eye out for similar features on other R&B icons who've weathered the storms of fame. Be part of the movement. Share this video or article with friends who might appreciate the real story behind the headlines. The The more we connect over these narratives, the more we can support the kind of artistry that prioritizes soul, authenticity, and staying power. Donell Jones's tale exemplifies the highs and lows of the music business, where you can jump from platinum-selling stardom to near obscurity at the drop of a hat. And yet, he remains standing, forging a pathway that sidesteps traditional industry strongholds. Whether you're a longtime fan or discovering him for the first time, it's hard to deny the power of a narrative that revolves around resilience, family, and ultimately, self-made freedom. So, don't go anywhere. Join the conversation, hit subscribe, and get ready for more exclusive insights on the artists you love. Because if Donell Jones has taught us anything, it's that there's always more to the story than what meets the eye. Stay tuned, stay curious, and we'll see you in the next deep dive.